Hello, everybody out there. Uh, Sorry it's been so long since I've done an update. Uh, with the holidays and the terrible weather, it became rather difficult. But now, today, it's supposed to be close to 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Next Tuesday, it's going to be in the 70s, which, after having 2 days of negative temperatures Fahrenheit, it's quite a nice change. This is a topic I've addressed a little bit in the past, but the more I think about it, the more I observe, the more I learn about it. And I want to say to people in America, I know I've been rather hard on you because you hardly donate any money or anything like that, but I'm an American. And I want to tell you to relax and don't panic because systemic racism is still alive and well in the United States. You all must be so proud. It's so depressing. I've got about 7 months to go on my homeless journey here, and I'm thoroughly convinced that I'm leaving this country once I'm done with this. I don't see any changes, and I only see things getting worse. I'm sure in big cities, things are better for people who are minorities and people who are marginalized. But where I'm at now, which is probably, an average sized town, it's nothing but good old boys in their pickup trucks with their Trump 2024 flags flying, and the same old racist bullshit that probably went on in the late 50s and 60s and 70s and has definitely not gotten any better or made minorities feel any more comfortable. I have a good friend. He's black. He feels very uncomfortable. I see every day the police or businesses forcing him to do things that they don't force white people to do. And you may think that that's just not true, but it is true. It's 100% true. I see him getting harassed more in the library. I see that when we go to have coffee, that he's told to completely leave the property if he wants to smoke a cigarette. Just the other day at a certain fast food chain, which I won't mention its name, but begins with B and ends with Burger King, he was told to leave the property completely to smoke a cigarette. And then when he came in, I went outside and smoked a cigarette 4 feet away from the door and just went and tried to make as much smoke as I could. And not one word was said to me. Now, I understand why a lot of white people don't see this. It's because that, how to put this without being too offensive, when they see an Afro-American person with a white person, they're granted a kind of good by association. Now, me being homeless and this good old boys network seeing that I'm carrying a backpack, it's like I don't have enough whiteness to elevate him to an acceptable level. And I know that sounds terrible. I know it's a terrible thing to even notice, but I can't change the truth. The fact of the matter is that black people in this country are still marginalized. just for being black. I understand that a lot of homeless people are homeless because they might have a drug problem, some kind of dependency problem, some kind of mental illness, and that's bad enough. But to be marginalized just from the color of your skin, through no merit whatsoever other than that, through no evil deed other than you look swarthy, it's absolutely shocking and it's terrible. I'm ashamed. And you have to understand, I saw no benefit from this time of slavery or even Jim Crow. My mother was an immigrant to the United States, but I still see that I got certain advantages that black people don't, just from the color of my skin. I can pretty much go anywhere I want, into any store, and yeah, sometimes I'm watched, but I'm never told to leave unless I'm actually doing something wrong. I'm never told to segregate yourself on the property. And this happens in the United States to my friend. Even though he is a kind person who, by the way, saved a baby's life a couple nights ago. And I don't know if I got into this, but I will. We were going to Burger King to have our coffee, and there was a laundromat called Jag Laundromat. And this man was backing his pickup truck in front of the door where his wife was going to be loading their laundry into the back of it. Well, it just so happens that their child, maybe 2.5, 3 years old, decided to run out the door and run in the back of this pickup truck, and the father promptly hit the child. There was a big thud and then a big yell, and even before I could compute really what was going on, my friend, my, African American friend, who's also homeless, who's also carrying a backpack, ran across 5 lanes of traffic without even thinking about himself and put himself in between the man's truck and the child. And I did a little bit to help. I yelled as loud as I could to stop because the man was still had his vehicle in reverse, and was, if it wasn't for my friend, was going to probably crush his own child. And well, I think at that time they were very thankful that my friend was black, because I sure wasn't moving that fast. And he undeniably saved this child's life. And there was no parade. There was a small thank you from the father, and then my friend was dismissed, like, your service has been done, you can move along. And then to turn around and go to Burger King, and he cannot even go outside to smoke a cigarette. He has to completely leave Burger King's property. It's just disgraceful. I mean, I never noticed these things before I was homeless. And even now that I'm homeless and I'm marginalized myself, I'm still not as degraded as what I see an average black person being degraded. It's absolutely terrible. I'm ashamed. More than likely, when my experience is over here in a couple months, I'm probably going to return home and sell my house and leave this country. Because I'm going to tell you, the racists who are on the Trump bandwagon make me so mad that I want to hurt somebody. And then the bleeding heart liberals on the complete other end of the spectrum just hurt me inside. Neither one of these parties is doing any good for this country. This country is becoming more divided. It's becoming worse in the United States. Now, granted, is it worse in other places? Yeah. Is it worse than even most places in Europe? Sure, it is. But the difference is these places are making progress. They're moving forward. They're addressing their problems. The United States isn't. We're sweeping it just under the rug where it's out of sight and out of view. And instead of addressing things like racism and true equality, we're sitting here debating about genders like a bunch of freaking idiots. I hate to come down upon the homosexual community because I do believe this is America and you can live your life how you want. But being a homosexual is not a minority. Unless you tell people you're homosexual, you can easily hide this fact. A black person cannot hide the fact that they're black. These idiot cops that walk around with banners that say Blue Lives Matter, you know what? They can stop becoming a cop anytime they want and get another job. My friend cannot stop being black. He cannot say, well, today I guess I'll try being Hispanic. No. It's a terrible thing. All people in this country should feel terrible. We like to sit around and say we're the greatest country in the world, but we're not. We're in the top 5 in a lot of categories, which might put us at an overall number 1 or number 2, maybe number 3. But we're not great anymore. And you know, except for a short time in the 1940s and early 1950s, I don't know if this country ever was great. Now everybody's going to get their panties in a bunch and say, well, you know, you don't know what it is to do this for the country. I served this country for 12 years. Yeah. My father served it for 22, my uncle for 24, and my other uncle for 22. And I understand what it is to serve your country and sacrifice your life. And I think since I've done this, I've earned the right to demand better. And I don't see it happen. I don't see anything changing in my lifetime. And to be quite honest, I see it getting worse. And I can no longer be part of this game, this tit for tat, this Republican versus Democrat, because both sides are losers. Extremism in general is a losing proposition. No matter if you do it for democracy or religion or some other kind of ideological belief. It's really time, America. It's really time to deal with our problems, stop breaking our arm, patting ourselves on the back for something that happened, 75 years ago. It's easy to sit back and laugh at the rest of the world. Oh, look at China, they're failing. Look at Russia's on the verge of collapse. I mean, what happens if these countries aren't around? I mean, what then is America? we won't have anybody to insult, anybody to say, well, at least I'm not in China. And then you'll have to look at yourself. But don't worry, they'll invent another enemy for us. And that's why I'm just saying, I'm going to do my best to help these local problems. I've talked to some gentleman. His first name is Dan. He's a news reporter. When the article is done, I'll let you read the entire thing. But there has been in the state of West Virginia a growing, unprecedented number of citations and arrests made to homeless people and minority people. A shockingly large number. And I'm going to give my proof to this reporter and let the public judge what needs to be done. But just stop and think about that. You cannot go and have a cigarette in an open public field in the city of Fairmont with the only other person around you, another smoker, without the police harassing you for no other reason than your social status or for the color of your skin. And if you talk back and you don't have your phone ready to record, well, you're going to get arrested for that good old West Virginia failsafe, obstructing an officer. And it's terrible. Come on. It's time for things to change. We're better than this. Stop doing things because everybody else does it and you're afraid to stand out a little bit. Make things the best you can for everybody in this country. But after that, I'm leaving. It's always been my dream. I've always thought it was the most beautiful place on earth. And it's rather cheap to live. These islands in Scotland called the Hebrides, mainly the Isle of Skye. Most beautiful place on earth. And it's where my ancestors come from. And I think my mother made a mistake immigrating to the United States. And it's time for me to go back. So yeah, there we go with the old love it or leave it. I can't love it, so I guess I'm going to leave it because it sucks. And the thing that sucks about it so much is it could have been so great. But people's petty squabbling has made it terrible. So the next time you're thinking about, dropping that big N word or criticizing somebody because they cut your time at your job, or to make fun of somebody who's dating somebody of another color, might be time to look at yourself. And the thing I can't understand is how completely anti-productive it is to not want to have the best people in the positions where they could succeed the best. And that's what we're doing in America. We're trying our hardest not to let Asians do mathematical jobs. We're trying our hardest not to give blacks corporate jobs. And it's sublimely ridiculous. It's even against capitalism. Racism is even against capitalism. So, this was a kind of long video today. I hope you listened to it. I hope it opens up your eyes. But it's time for this country to change, or, you know, just fall to the wayside. It probably should just fall to the wayside. There's nothing in it anymore. Just hate. Hate and sarcasm. Have a good day.